What do you do when you spend years studying, working, giving yourself to a craft, whether you love it or hate it, and then all of a sudden your entire life pivots and it doesn't seem like you're using what you've invested so much of your life and your time and your energy into? Hey, it's Lucas Scrobot, and you're listening to Weaver and Loom. Last week, Hamza Abdi, one of our listeners here on Weaver and Loom, sent me this question, which was, what do you do when you spend 4 years studying at university, something that you love, and then you leave uni and you don't even use the thing that you studied? Now, this is a common, I wouldn't say problem, but a common question, a common struggle that people have. I studied English literature in university, and I came out of university and I didn't even seem to use it. But now in my life, it has become a foundational framework for me to understand the world and a discipline of thought that I'm able to parse the world out and see the world in a certain way, to understand and to think critically from that framework of literature. I'm actually able to apply it to so many other things. Multiple times on this podcast, Weaver and Loom, we've had guests such as Obaid Abdur and El Tamash and even Mohammed Kavem. All these three individuals studied something in university. Two of them studied banking and finances, and they were in the corporate banking world. And then their life took this unexpected turn where they became photographers. Or Mohammed Kavem, he studied medicine and was working in a hospital in America. And then his life takes a left turn, and now he's designing shoes and high-end fashion here in Dubai. So what happens? Is that time just wasted? Do we just say, oh, well, it's just wasted time? But my encouragement to you today is that it is not wasted time, and I don't think that we need to fear that time would be wasted or that we missed it. Because the way that new ideas are formed, the way that innovative thoughts occur, it happens when we take two old thoughts that sometimes can be seemingly disconnected, or two old mediums, and we merge them together, and out comes something new. If you think about how the theme park came to be, it was Disney looking at ancient gardens in Arabia and in Egypt and these elaborate gardens, and then it merged with the idea of the Disney films of wizards and warlocks, and they meshed it and mashed it together, and out popped an amusement park. When you think of Amazon, how did Amazon get started? It took the old idea of having a used bookstore and an idea of the internet, which was just coming out, and said, hey, what happens when we put a bookstore on the internet where we can connect with millions of people? You think of Uber. Uber said, well, you can order a flight online. Why can't you order a cab online? And instead of using a cab, why don't we just use all these other cars that are sitting idle? And poof, Uber was born. Disruptive innovation often happens when two seemingly disconnected ideas are merged together to build and to produce a new idea. Music, much of music happens this way, where we take two old forms of music and we merge them together into a fusion, and then a new genre is birthed. So if you're going to school as an engineer and you leave school and you find yourself in marketing, the great news is that the disciplines that you learn, the ways of thinking that you learned while you were studying engineering, while you're studying civil engineering in university, those disciplines of thought can be applied to your new job that you're in, the new industry that you're in, and by taking a seemingly disconnected discipline of thought and applying it to an old discipline of thought in a new way, right? If you're taking the old discipline of thought of civil engineering and the old discipline of thought of media and marketing, what happens when you merge those together? Do you begin to think differently? Do you begin to have new, fresh, creative ways of looking and viewing the world? So that's my encouragement to you today. If you find yourself in a new, unexpected season where you're not using or seemingly not using what has come from a past season, just remember that you can take those things from the past and revitalize them. You can take those things, those old things, and use those disciplines of thought in your everyday life to see the world in new ways, ways that other people are not viewing it, so that you can have leaps of innovation and ways of doing things and drastically improve your work and the life of yourself and others around you. Thank you for listening to this episode of Weaver and Loom. If you have any questions like Hamza Abdi had, please send them my way. I would love to hear them and answer them here on Weaver and Loom. And if you have been listening to this podcast to Own the Future with the segment Weaver and Loom in it, I would love if you could share this with one person today. Thank you for listening, and until next time, I'm Lucas Scrobot, and you're listening to Weaver and Loom, where destiny is woven.